The story of the Delhi Durbar emerald necklace is a dazzling royal saga, glittering with gems, history, and timeless elegance. In 1911, the master craftsman of Garrard and Company Limited created a magnificent parure for the coronation of King George V and Queen Mary in India. At its heart lay a double-stranded platinum necklace, set with alternating large emeralds and diamonds, surrounded by 94 smaller diamonds, and finished with two exquisite negligee-style pendants. In jewelry terms, negligee means playful asymmetry, two drops, one slightly longer than the other. For the Delhi Durbar, that meant a rich emerald cabochon on one side and a sparkling 8.8-carat diamond on the other. But the gemstone story began long before. Back in 1818, Augusta of Hesse-Kassel, Duchess of Cambridge, won 8 exceptional emeralds in a lottery, a stroke of luck worthy of a fairy tale. She had them crafted into a necklace with a dramatic pear-shaped emerald pendant. The jewel passed down through generations until it reached Queen Mary, who had it completely redesigned by Garrard in time for her coronation, turning it into an emblem of imperial opulence. Today, the Delhi Durbar necklace remains part of Queen Elizabeth II's collection, still adorned with its two iconic pendants, the emerald drop and the famous Cullinan diamond. Necklace with emeralds by Godman. Elizabeth II received the platinum necklace with Colombian emeralds and diamonds as a gift from the Godman sisters, the daughters of a British scientist who bought the jewelry at the end of the 19th century during a trip to Bavaria. In the 20th century, jewelry historians assumed that this necklace had previously belonged to Josephine, the wife of Napoleon Bonaparte, but later this hypothesis was not confirmed. The tale of the Greville emerald necklace is as much about legacy as it is about gems. Margaret Greville, a society figure known for her impeccable taste and flair for opulence, amassed a jewelry collection that could rival a royal treasury. Among her treasures was the famed emerald kokoshnik, later worn by Princess Eugenie at her wedding. But perhaps the most striking piece was her necklace of lush, vivid emeralds. When Mrs. Greville passed away, she left her glittering collection to the British royal family. The emerald necklace soon became a favourite of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who was often photographed wearing it, and wearing it well. After her mother's death, Queen Elizabeth II was seen in public wearing a necklace whose emeralds bore a remarkable resemblance to those of the Greville piece. Art historians speculated that the Queen might have commissioned jewellers to reimagine the original design, keeping the Greville emeralds but adding 10 cabochons for extra grandeur. The royal household has never confirmed, nor denied, the story, leaving a touch of mystery hanging in the air. The story of Princess Diana's emerald choker is not just about a jewel worth £15 million. It's a royal tale woven with glamour, bold fashion choices, and a dash of scandal. When Diana joined the royal family in 1981, she was showered with treasures. Among them was a stunning Art Deco choker of diamonds and emeralds. Its history stretched back to 1911, when Queen Mary, wife of George V, visited India and was presented with magnificent emeralds. A decade later, in 1921, they were set into a necklace. Diana debuted the piece in 1982 at a charity concert at the Barbican, and soon after at a London film premiere. But its most famous appearance came in 1985 during the royal tour of Australia. Instead of wearing it around her neck, Diana boldly placed the choker on her forehead like a tiara, and danced with Prince Charles in it. Rumours swirled that Queen Elizabeth II was displeased. Royal protocol dictates how such jewels should be worn, and some even claimed the move was seen as a slight to her grandmother, Queen Mary. The truth, however, was far more charming. In her 1997 book The Royals, biographer Kitty Kelly revealed that the necklace simply got stuck as Diana tried to pull it over her head. With no ladies-in-waiting nearby to fasten it, Canadian diplomat Victor Chapman suggested, half-jokingly, Why not wear it as a tiara? And so she did. In 1988, Diana paired the choker with the Spencer tiara and emerald drop earrings for a banquet at Claridge's. It was clearly one of her favourite jewels. The last time she wore it was on her 36th birthday in July 1997 at the Tate Gallery in London. 2 months later, she was gone, and the choker returned to the royal collection. The emerald tiara of the Duchess of Angouleme is far more than a piece of jewellery. It's a survivor of royal courts, revolutions, empires, and auctions, now resting as a treasured museum masterpiece. Marie-Thérèse, daughter of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, was born into the glitter of the French court, yet lived through its darkest hours. She endured the French Revolution, years of exile, and returned to become one of the most influential women in France. Even Napoleon famously remarked, "This woman is the only man in the Bourbon family." In 1819 to 1820, her husband, Louis Antoine, Duke of Angouleme, gifted her a magnificent tiara crafted by jewellers Evrard and Frederick Barbst. It held 40 emeralds, 14 taken from the royal treasury, and the rest matched with perfect precision. Over 1,000 diamonds, exactly 1,031, shimmered alongside the green gems, set into a delicate base of gold and silver with a diamond motif resembling curling leaves. Though made for the Duchess, the tiara formerly belonged to the French crown. When Charles the Thicken and Louis Antoine abdicated in 1830, the royal family left for exile, and the jewel was returned to the treasury. Years later, it became a favourite of the last French empress, Eugénie, wife of Napoleon III. The tiara was displayed at the 1878 Paris Exposition Universelle and again at the Louvre in 1884. But in 1887, during the sale of the royal collection, it was auctioned off and found its way to Britain. In the 1960s, it was in the care of jeweller Wartski, though its royal origin was not widely known. Once its history came to light, it was exhibited for 20 years at the Victoria and Albert Museum. To prevent the treasure from leaving the country, the British government placed an export ban. This gave time for funds to be raised, and eventually the Louvre acquired the tiara. Today, this masterpiece can be admired in Paris. Remarkably preserved in its original form, the Duchess of Angouleme's tiara is not just gold and emeralds. It is history itself, captured in precious brilliance. The Hindu necklace is a jewel of legend, created in 1950 for one of the most flamboyant and extravagant women of the 20th century, Maharani Sita Devi of Baroda. Sita Devi lived as if the world were her personal runway. She was the second wife of Maharaja Pratap Singh Gaikwad, one of the richest men on earth. To marry him, she left her first husband, her child, and even changed her religion. The Maharaja lavished upon her the treasures of the Baroda royal vaults, giving her free rein to its unimaginable wealth. Sita Devi never bought gemstones from jewellers. Instead, she would arrive at workshops surrounded by attendants, carrying chests of emeralds, sapphires, and diamonds, commissioning one-of-a-kind creations. One such commission was the Hindu necklace. Crafted over more than a year by Van Cleef and Arpels, it featured a platinum setting adorned with 13 pear-shaped emeralds, weighing over 156 carats, flawless diamonds, and a central lotus motif crowned by a carved emerald. Sita Devi adored the piece, wearing it to dazzle the elite circles of Europe and India. The couple's extravagance was legendary. During several trips to the United States, they reportedly spent over $10 million on shopping alone. But fairy tale fortunes can run dry. Following her divorce and staggering expenses, the Maharani's wealth dwindled. In 1974, she was forced to sell the Hindu along with most of her jewels at a private auction. The necklace resurfaced in 2002 at Christie's, selling for more than $1.6 million to an anonymous buyer, who, fittingly, remains as elusive as the jewel's own mystique. Once upon a time, in the grand courts of Imperial Russia, where opulence met tradition and every jewel told a story, there was a tiara like no other. This was no ordinary ornament, but a masterpiece woven from the dreams, fortunes, and legacies of royalty. It belonged to Grand Duchess Elizabeth Feodorovna, a woman known for her grace, strength, and the unmistakable sparkle she carried, not just in her eyes, but on her regal brow. The story of her emerald tiara begins with a man whose name shone in the annals of imperial craftsmanship, Karl Edward Boleyn. He was the court jeweler to the Romanov dynasty, a master artist who understood how to turn mere stones into symbols of power and beauty. His firm created breathtaking masterpieces, worn by the most distinguished members of the royal family, until the tides of history crashed down in 1917 with the Russian Revolution. Imagine the splendor of the time, grand balls, glittering gowns, and the shimmering radiance of precious gems reflecting candlelight in the halls of the Winter Palace. Boleyn's creations were the crown jewels of such events, their designs blending Russian heritage with influences from across Europe. The emerald tiara was part of a magnificent parure, a matching set of jewelry so exquisite it could only befit royalty. This set was no casual accessory, it was a living heirloom, crafted with painstaking care to include the very emeralds gifted to Elizabeth Feodorovna on her wedding day. These stones carried the weight of history and family, passed down from her husband, Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich, who received them from his mother, Empress Maria Alexandrovna. The tiara's design captured the era's finest trends, a fusion of Russian tradition and Western elegance. Crafted in the shape of a kokoshnik, the traditional Russian headdress, it bore a striking resemblance to the crowns and diadems of queens far beyond Russia's borders. 7 large cabochon emeralds dominated its frame, each one a glowing green jewel, surrounded by delicate rose-cut diamonds that sparkled like tiny stars nestled around a midnight sky. At the center of the tiara hung a removable brooch, a sparkling cluster of large, transparent stones that caught the light and scattered it in a dazzling display. The entire piece rested on an open-work lattice of silver and gold, patterned with graceful botanical motifs that added life and elegance to the gleaming treasure. But the journey of this parure was far from over. By 1908, the emerald parure passed into new hands. Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna, another illustrious member of the Romanov family, became the proud owner of this dazzling set. Such was the tradition among the aristocracy. Jewels moved not only as gifts, but as symbols of family ties and shifting alliances. Maria Pavlovna, known for her elegance and strong will, cherished these jewels as part of her own royal identity. But the tides of fate were turning against the Romanovs. The old order was crumbling beneath the weight of political upheaval and social unrest. The opulence that once dazzled the imperial courts would soon become a liability. The Russian Revolution of 1917 brought chaos, forcing the Romanovs into exile, stripping them of their titles, their homes, and much of their wealth. For Maria Pavlovna, the change was brutal. Gone were the days of lavish banquets and sparkling jewels. Instead came a harsh reality where survival often meant sacrifice. The precious parure, once the pinnacle of royal luxury, now had to serve a more practical purpose. With resources scarce and many former luxuries out of reach, the Grand Duchess made the painful decision to part with the precious set. In 1920, fate intervened once more. The emerald and diamond parure found a buyer in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, purchased by King Alexander I. This acquisition was not merely a transaction but a grand gesture, a magnificent gift to his bride-to-be, Queen Marie. The set, reborn in a new royal context, became part of the crown jewels of the Yugoslavian monarchy, blending histories and cultures with every gleam of emerald and diamond. But the story did not end there. Queen Marie entrusted the tiara and necklace to the celebrated jeweler house Cartier, seeking subtle transformations to suit her royal tastes. Cartier's master craftsmen infused the pieces with fresh life while honoring their noble heritage. As years passed, the jewels changed hands yet again, this time within the royal family. Queen Marie's son inherited the collection, but by the late 1940s, misfortune had taken its toll. Burdened by debts, he was forced to use the magnificent jewels as collateral with the famed jeweler Van Cleef and Arpels. Eventually, Van Cleef and Arpels became the rightful owner of the tiara. In a decision both practical and bittersweet, the house removed the original emeralds, those timeless, irreplaceable stones whose fates remain a mystery. Some say they were sold separately, scattered into private collections far from royal courts. To preserve the tiara's legacy, the jewels were replaced with synthetic stones, ensuring the shape and spirit of the original remained intact. Despite losing its precious emeralds, the tiara's frame survived, a silent testament to its storied past. Rather than being dismantled or sold outright, it found new life as a piece available for rent to celebrities and aristocrats alike, who longed to wear a fragment of imperial history at glamorous events. Meanwhile, the fate of the original necklace remains unknown. Lost to the shadows of time, perhaps held in some private collection, a hidden treasure waiting to be rediscovered. The emerald tiara, despite losing its precious stones, continued to carry a silent magic. Its frame whispered stories of imperial splendor, royal weddings, and the resilience of those who once wore it. Though the shimmering emeralds had vanished, replaced by synthetic crystals, the tiara remained a symbol, a bridge across time, linking the vanished world of the Romanovs with the present. Over the decades, the tiara became a coveted treasure for those who understood its history. Wealthy socialites, aristocrats, and celebrities seeking a touch of old-world glamour would rent the tiara for special occasions, basking in the reflected glory of centuries past. Each appearance rekindled the fascination with a time when crowns and jewels represented not just wealth, but identity, power, and legacy. What makes this tale so compelling is the way this single jewel set traveled through history. From the glittering ballrooms of imperial Russia, through the upheaval of revolution, across borders to new monarchies, and finally into the hands of jewelers and collectors far removed from its origins. The tiara witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the survival of families torn apart by political storms, and the shifting nature of value from priceless family heirlooms to commercial luxury. The necklace, originally part of the same parure, slipped into obscurity. While the tiara was preserved and adapted, the necklace's fate remains a mystery. Perhaps it lies in a private collection, far from public view, or was dismantled and sold piece by piece, its emeralds scattered across the globe like whispers of a lost era. This story isn't just about gems and gold. It's about the way objects carry history, embody memories, and connect generations. The emerald tiara of Grand Duchess Elizabeth Feodorovna is more than a piece of jewelry. It's a chapter in the saga of the Romanovs, a symbol of enduring beauty amid the tides of change. Today, if you were to come across that tiara, still sparkling under event lights, still exuding a quiet nobility, you wouldn't just see a crown, you'd glimpse the passage of time, the lives of those who once treasured it, and the mystery that still shrouds the vanished emeralds. And in that moment, the tiara becomes not just a jewel, but a story waiting to be told.